This is the 1961 Chevrolet, a four-door Impala. During the months to come, your prospects will be bombarded with a lot of facts and some fiction about this automobile and the other models in Chevy's new lineup. You've already seen it advertised that the 61 Chevy is the greatest show on earth, and it's no longer news that the Chevy and other General Motors cars have been warranted for 12,000 miles. So, on the surface at least, it would appear that Chevy offers the same big values in 1961 that we offer. But a closer look at Chevy and Ford proves that the greatest show on earth is a pretty hollow theme. Why? Well, as you know, Ford set an industry trend late in September when Ford dealers extended their 1961 car warranty to 12,000 miles or 12 months. This was done because Ford built the one car that could support such confidence. The one car that is really beautifully built to take care of itself. The 1961 Ford was planned and built to meet the exacting standards needed to back up an extended warranty. As you know, within a matter of days, after Ford surprised the industry with the announcement of the 12,000-mile warranty, Chevrolet announced a similar warranty. Chevy, however, does not offer the features that made the Ford warranty possible. For example, 30,000-mile lubrication, self-adjusting brakes, double-wrapped aluminized muffler and galvanized rocker panels. What's more, these are not simply advertising claims, but genuine features developed through exhaustive research, fine engineering, and quality construction that make it the most reliable Ford ever built. So the big Ford values that Chevy still doesn't have are really important, whether you're comparing advertising claims, warranty periods, or the cars themselves. For instance, in the Chevy Owner's Guide, it's recommended that the Chevy chassis be lubricated every 1,000 miles. The 1961 Ford is designed to go 30,000 miles without a chassis lubrication. That's about 3 years normal driving. Yes, the 1961 Ford has been taken off the grease rack. No more 1,000-mile lube jobs for the 61 Ford owner. And after the first 30,000 miles, a simple 18-minute service operation costing about $4 provides the 61 Ford owner with another 30,000 miles of lube-free driving. And the 1961 Ford is designed to go 4,000 miles between oil changes, thanks to Ford's full-flow oil filter that filters all of the engine oil. And this means all of the oil in all Ford engines. Consider also the 61 Ford double-wrapped aluminized muffler, which obviously is more durable than the 61 Chevy's single-wrap muffler. Ford's new self-adjusting brakes and the Cruise-O-Matic transmission, which now needs only a band adjustment. Ford's diamond luster finish never needs wax, and galvanized rocker panels protect against rust and corrosion. Chevy lacks these Ford features that save owners literally hundreds of dollars throughout the life of the car.
As for styling, let's compare the Galaxy against Impala for two reasons. One, because the Galaxy is the top of the Ford line. Two, because the styling of the Galaxy and Impala lines is a good basis for comparing other models. Beginning with the front of the Galaxy, the styling is clean, functional, integrated. The hood, 1.5 inches lower than the Impala's for better forward visibility, seems to flow right into the grille. In contrast, the Impala's aluminum grille and hood sheet metal don't look like they really go together. There's an open space between that breaks up the design. Chevy's busy styling features look unfinished and tacked on. Up front, Ford's big, sturdy, one-piece wraparound front bumper also makes an important comparison plus. It's made of extended life bright metal, braced to the frame instead of the body sheet metal. The material and design of the Ford bumper is a big advantage when compared with Chevy's narrow minimum protection three-piece bumper. The narrowness of the Chevy bumper exposes a painted stone shield. Now, this not only adds to the unfinished look of the front end, but will need a lot of attention because of paint chipping and rust. Ford's deeper one-piece bumper fully protects all surfaces below the grille. An obvious mark of superior and functional Ford styling is the body side molding made of durable stainless steel. Notice how little effort it takes to open the Ford door compared with the Chevy door. Ford's upper side moldings integrate with the door buttons to become the door handles, and a recessed area provides plenty of room for gripping. The Impala's single aluminum side moldings are sharply tapered and make extensive use of painted inserts. It could be these inserts cut manufacturing costs, but they destroy a clean styling effect. Neither of the Galaxy's two side moldings suffer from this styling defect. Now, take a look at the Impala's narrow windshield reveal molding. It points up the kind of economy Chevy practices. Even this bright metal is taken off all other models, and painted metal is used instead. On the other hand, Ford's durable stainless steel windshield reveal moldings are full-sized and the kind of rich-looking feature that buyers expect of the top series. But Ford also goes further than Chevy, using stainless steel windshield reveals right through the Fairlane 500. In 1961, Chevy will push a new and flatter roofline for the Impala. The four-door hardtop shows how much influence the Galaxy roofline has had in industry styling, even though it looks out of place on Chevy. Furthermore, the rest of the Impala series doesn't share this Ford-inspired feature. Far from it. The man who buys a regular 2- or 4-door Impala gets the same Corvair-type roofline used on the lower-priced Bel Air and Biscayne. In other words, while the buyer of a regular Impala 2- or 4-door sedan pays for the exclusive features of a top series, one thing he doesn't get is their new roofline. A Galaxy buyer gets the same roofline in all models. And what he gets still looks a lot better, because it's an original design. It looks like it belongs there. At the rear of the Impala, the styling treatment has a chopped-off Corvair look. This goes for the rear styling of the rest of the 61 Chevy line. The narrow three-piece Chevy rear bumper exposes much of the rear underbody. The Galaxy has these rear styling advantages over the Impala. A clean look. The rear end styling is in perfect balance with the rest of the body lines. For example, Ford's big integrated taillights are perfectly proportioned to rear end design and don't clutter up the back of the car as Impala's two banks of three little lights do.
No doubt about it. There are big Ford values in lower operating costs and better styling. Both Ford and Chevy are fairly similar in overall size, interior dimensions, and so on. At first glance, the two cars might not seem to have many differences, but a close look reveals there are differences, some of them perhaps not important in themselves, but when you add them all together, Ford has a big advantage over Chevy, made up of tremendous trifles. Let's look at some of them. Take engine selection, performance, and economy. This year, Chevy claims a choice of 8 different engines. Actually, with the exception of the 6-cylinder engine, all Chevy engines are modifications of the 283 and 348 cubic inch V8s. That's 3 basic engines, not 8. Ford has 4 basic engines, each with a different displacement, offering a greater range of both displacement and horsepower, so that there's a marked difference in power from one engine to another. Only one of the 4 Ford engines, the 390 V8, requires premium fuel. The rest all operate efficiently on regular gas. But of the 8 engines or modifications that Chevy claims, only the 235 cubic inch 6 and standard 283 V8 use regular fuel. Chevy has no engine that matches our new 390 V8 when rated for high performance at 375 horsepower. This is a tremendous trifle to buyers in the Galaxy Impala class who want a real bomb. And from an economy angle, our modern short-stroke 135 horsepower 6 means less friction and wear than Chevy's old-fashioned long-stroke design. Ford is also ahead in the availability and durability of lower-cost automatic transmissions. Chevy's Power Glide is available only on their 6 and standard V8 engines, while Ford-O-Matic is available on our own 6 and 2 Ford V8s with different displacements. Chevy Overdrive can be had only on their 6 engine and on their 2 lowest-rated horsepower engines of the same displacement, while Ford Overdrive is available on all engines. Then there's the added operating cost of the automatic choke on Chevy's 6-cylinder engine. For maximum economy, the Ford 6 is equipped with a manual choke. Economy-minded prospects will also be surprised to know that an oil filter, which costs $9.15 extra on the Chevy 6 engine, is standard equipment only on Chevy V8s. And this filter is a bypass type, which is not as efficient as Ford's standard full-flow oil filter. Also, Chevy's smaller 54-plate battery is standard on all but the 348 cubic inch V8, while Ford offers its larger 66-plate battery as standard equipment on all Ford engines. Chevy's 6 engine has an oil bath type air cleaner available at extra cost. There's a modern, efficient, dry type air cleaner on all Ford engines at no extra cost. Moving to the side of the cars, it's worth noting that Chevy's wheel covers are chrome-plated and liable to rust. Ford's stainless steel wheel covers always retain their bright new look. Rear side windows on all Ford sedans roll all the way down. But because of the rear door design and sheet metal lines on Chevy sedans, rear side windows roll down only partway, leaving about 2.5 inches exposed. The only exception to this is the Impala sports sedan. This side of the car is also the place to bring up Ford's familiar wide-contoured frame made of 2 channel section girders that offers more protection from side impacts than Chevy's X-type or cruciform frame. Suspension or springing is another proven Ford advantage. We use 5-foot leaf springs, which adjust to road and load conditions for a more comfortable ride, but which are rigid enough to provide stability. Chevy has ordinary soft coil springs that do not offer enough rigidity to prevent side sway, particularly at the rear.
Looking at the 61 Chevy from the rear, something besides poor styling can be brought to your prospect's attention. The rear bumper is positioned so high that the risk involved in pushing a Chevy is pretty obvious. On impact, the rear bumper is going to override and may lock up. Ford's bumpers are contoured and positioned so that the possibility of bumper lockup is greatly reduced. Now, when it comes to the 61 Chevy trunk with its new rectangular well, some buyers will be happy with the fact that they can now stand a large shopping bag upright with some clearance. But the appearance of a larger Chevy trunk is deceiving. Ford and Chevy trunks have the same amount of space. Chevy's well is also inconvenient for unloading. You have to lift up, over, and out. Ford's flat trunk floor more than makes up for whatever advantages Chevy's bathtub well may have. The vinyl flocking and skimpy floor mat in Chevy's trunk space offer very little protection for luggage compared to Ford's liners and floor mat. Furthermore, by lowering the sill height, Chevy has sacrificed structural rigidity because the sill panel beneath the deck lid has been narrowed down. And again, to achieve its new trunk design, Chevy has moved its fuel tank forward, requiring a rerouting of its fuel line and location of the fuel filler to the left side of the car. Fueling a Chevy this year can be mighty inconvenient compared to fueling a Ford. At the near side of the cars, it's obvious that Ford's big, broad scuff plate and lower step height make getting in safer and easier than Chevy's narrow scuff plate. Following Ford by a number of years, Chevy for 61 has finally gotten around to two-stage door checks. But they still don't offer Ford's special toggle assist spring that makes opening and closing our wide doors so much easier than opening or closing the Chevy door. From this position, some important differences can be drawn about interior dimensions and product quality. For greater comfort, Ford has over 3 inches more rear seat shoulder room than Chevy, and an inch lower tonneau. For a quieter ride, a half-inch layer of insulation between the roof and the headlining that Chevy doesn't provide.
One of the first things you can compare at the driver's door is Chevy's conventional door locks that can't resist the 2,000 pounds of pull that Ford's Husky double grip door locks can. Chevy's door panels are all vinyl, from the window channel right down to the bottom of the door. Ford's door panels include quality fabric for a much richer appearance, with protective metal molding all around the windows and a metal retaining clip at the bottom of the trim panel. You can continue comparing product quality and appearance by pointing out that all Chevys, except Impala, have no seat side shields. These are standard equipment on every 61 Ford. Seat side shields keep the front seat travel adjustment mechanism out of sight and protect the seat fabric as well as passengers' clothing. For added comfort, Ford seats have a half-inch more foam rubber padding than Chevy. Not only that, Ford seats are stitched with long-life nylon and made with materials that continue to lead the field in richness and quality. Inside the front compartment, the 61 Ford's superiority over the 61 Chevy is made up of many details that give an overall impression of greater safety and value. To name only a few, there's the fully padded Ford dash for greater safety and reduced glare, compared to a Chevy dash with only 1.5 inches padded over the edge. The deep-dished 3-spoke standard Ford safety steering wheel and horn ring against Chevy's shallow 2-spoke wheel with less convenient horn buttons. And Ford's full-sized functional rear-view mirror that's double swiveled for easier, more accurate positioning over Chevy's narrow, single-swiveled rear-view mirror. An important Ford safety and convenience item that Chevy doesn't share is lighted control identification for night driving. Then, of course, there's the fact that Ford's self-adjusting brakes have 14.5 square inches more lining area than Chevy's for surer stops and lower operating costs. Prospects may want to know, in general terms, how Ford's self-adjusting feature works. Each time the brakes are applied while the car is moving backwards, a simple mechanism consisting of a pawl linked to the brake shoes turns a ratchet which automatically adjusts the brakes. There is no need to have the brakes mechanically adjusted for the life of the linings. And parking is easier in the 61 Ford because the canted fins provide a good aiming point to mark the limits of the rear fender. Not so with the 61 Chevy. There's nothing to guide on, since there's no point in the sheet metal that locates the edge of the rear fender. Incidentally, one obvious advantage which you'll notice in these pictures is the greater visibility the Fairlane 500 has compared with the Bel Air. The total glass area of the 500 is 271 square inches greater. Another trifle, perhaps, but it contributes to safer, more convenient driving. The tremendous trifles, naturally, carry over to comparisons of 61 Ford and Chevy station wagons. In load space, for example, Chevy points to a small, hidden compartment which is good for storing small objects. And this limited space in the hidden compartment is even more restricted on Chevy 9-passenger station wagons because of the third seat. Ford station wagons have 6.5 cubic feet more of usable load space than Chevy. Certainly, this is a tremendous trifle when it comes to carrying the kind of loads you usually put in a station wagon. Another example of a Ford wagon's superiority is load space length. With tailgate closed or tailgate down, Ford wagon's load space length is nearly 6 inches longer than Chevy's. Also, Ford's load space height from the floor to the headlining is 1.5 inches greater than Chevy's. A tremendous trifle that can be quite an advantage when a TV set is being loaded, for example. The head, leg, shoulder room, and so forth of the 61 Ford and Chevy wagons are about the same, give or take a few tenths of an inch here and there. Chevy persists in having the third seat face backwards, so that passengers unlucky enough to get the third seat can be blinded by the lights of oncoming cars at night. Also inconvenient from the passenger's point of view is getting into or out of the third seat. They're especially difficult and undignified procedures for women. And here's the story of how we compare to Chevy in model lineup and price for 1961. This chart shows that you're fully competitive or lower in price for all passenger cars right across the board. When you compare lowest price 6-cylinder wagons, Ford has a big price advantage because Chevy offers no 2-door wagon. And when you compare 4-door for 4-door, Chevy has only a $3 advantage. You are still very much competitive.
To sum up, these are the big values in product that Ford has over Chevy throughout the line. We can't make a big enough point of stressing them first.
The 61 Ford lubricates itself, cleans its own oil, adjusts its own brakes, guards its own muffler, protects its own body, and takes care of its own finish.
Styling values? Well, from every angle, the classic Ford look for 1961 gives you a definite edge.
But it may be in the tremendous trifles that you'll hit on just exactly the point of Ford's superiority that will make the difference.
It may be engine choice, regular gas, bigger battery, transmission availability, air cleaners.
Or the seat side shields, windshield moldings, wheel discs, or chassis frames.
Maybe it's suspension, bumper design, the trunk, step height, or mechanical door assist.
Could be the scuff plate, rear side visibility, rear shoulder room, floor covering, or the tunnel height, or many other items, some of them important, others less important. But these and Ford's planned, fully supported 12,000-mile warranty are big values and tremendous trifles with a snowballing effect that ends in sales. 61 Ford sales.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos.